Okay, Michelle, whenever you're ready.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and I hope everyone had a great Super Bowl weekend. Today, we are in tune for another roundtable discussion and to do some networking for the next 30 minutes. So I'll pass it to Matt Bogosian to go over some updates and to facilitate that. Matt, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you, Michelle. As always, Michelle A. Burris from the Century Foundation, one of our many BFFs, to include many of you. As she said, this is our 30-minute national call. After my little intro here, be ready to introduce or reintroduce yourself at a minimum. You can bring any kind of update to us from your corner of the ecosystem. Like David had asked. David's our operations director, AMCC's operations director, David Van Sicklen. Put your name and affiliation in chat and add your email too. If you're willing to engage for greater collective impact, that's a message to others that you're welcome to engage. So this is a roundtable call, like Michelle said, and so after my little intro here, you can raise your hand and give us that. You can also use the chat, of course, as we talk about every week, and I suspect many of you grab good info that is best practices in strengthening the manufacturing ecosystem there from the chat. So if you're new, many Mondays we have this roundtable call where we exchange info, and other Mondays we have short presentations. David, if you could drop the presentations page into the chat, it's on our website, americamcc.org. And we record these short 30-minute presentations there, and you can, they're continuously relevant. There's sometimes there's dates or whatever, in there, but the best practices that are captured there, super cool, and relevant to the complex ecosystem of support that the manufacturers need in key industries. So that's that. These calls, as I often point out, are really going combo with the AMCC update newsletter that goes out at the end of every week, and that we talk about often, for a few minutes on these Monday calls. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this February 26th event coming up in DC. But before we do that, for new folks or people who haven't, spoken up much recently, raise your hand, say, hey, this is a 10-year-old call, 30 minutes, 30-minute zone of trust for all kinds of public, private, nonprofit stakeholders dedicated to evidence-based interventions that strengthen the manufacturing cornerstone in regions across the country. So get in, water's warm, raise your hand, reintroduce yourself. Where are you in? Oh, look at this. Andy Stetner, one of our co-founders, is on here. Awesome. Andy, why don't you reintroduce yourself? Yeah, model.
Yeah. I wanted to come on camera there for a minute. It's Andy Stetner, one of Michelle Burris's colleagues at the Century Foundation. I spent the last 2 years as an official in the Department of Labor, and I'm back to the Century Foundation and helping to build our work on industrial policy and all things economy and jobs. So looking forward to learning from this amazing group, and congratulations on the last 2 years with that, having had a chance to be involved in day to day.
Yeah, no, it's great. We're excited to re-engage and get the benefit of your insights, like with everyone, right? So there's like no one owns this universe, right? It's just kind of emblematic of the need for all of us to come together using the best evidence, to help each other and our regions, build smarter products that solve problems and improve the human condition. So yeah, welcome home, Andy. I see, Buckley, your note there. Well said. Using the chat. So check out the chat as we go here. Let's see, other introductions. folks that haven't introduced themselves for a while. Carlene Herring out in the West in Idaho. Is that where you are, Carlene? Good to see your name. Reintroduce yourself. Yeah.
I'm Carlene Herring. I'm the Economic Development Administration's representative for both Idaho and Nevada. I was one of the original IMCP community leads. So I have a fond regard for all things IMCP, American manufacturing communities. Just glad to be here again. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thank you, Carlene. As always, it takes a village for sure. And of course, our federal agencies, have an important role, but they're just one set of stakeholders that are important to regional bottom-up manufacturing. There are many others. Brian Kennedy, I'm calling you out to reintroduce yourself. Good morning, sir. And where are you in the ecosystem? Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning. And I am in sunny Southern California. I'm with Ampac Business Capital. We are a SBA lender, a small business administration lender, facilitating SBA 504 loans, help business owners buy commercial real estate. We love working with our manufacturers to help them create jobs as champions of job makers. So we're always grateful to be in this space. And Matt, David, thank you all so much for all the work you do in this space as well.
Yeah, for sure. And great to always have you on these calls, like with everyone. Other folks, raise your hand. I could, we don't have roundtable calls every week, so it's a good opportunity to raise your hand. Like if you have a best practice, something's evolving, some obstacle that you're worried about. I mean, we have a lot of challenges that we're facing in terms of strengthening our ecosystem. Yeah, Amy, welcome. Yeah.
Hi, Matt. Thank you so much for hosting. I'm Amy Schultz. I'm Executive Dean for Workforce and Strategic Initiatives at Sierra College in Rocklin, California, just outside of Sacramento. And we just have a big thing we're celebrating this week that I wanted to share. As some of you may have heard, Bosch has moved in as a next door neighbor to us, and we are the training provider for their technician program. And they have sent 10 of their operators through our mechatronics program over this past year. They graduated in December. They all received promotions from operator to technician, and we're doing a graduation ceremony on Wednesday to celebrate. So we're just thrilled to have Bosch as our neighbor. They've been amazing to work with. They're invested and they received CHIPS funding towards the end of the year, so we're really happy about that. But just lots of exciting things happening in our region. And thank you for your support.
Yeah, for sure, Amy. If you drop info about that activity, if there's something already captured, it's an easy link. Thanks for doing that, and thanks for jumping up. I mean, it's a Dave. It's a good segue, Amy. Thank you for that, David. If you could pull up that 3-pillar thing, and you guys all see this, right? Amy's talking about the workforce pillar of the big 6 elements, right? We've got a playbook, 1.0 version of the playbook that's been co-created. We're always inviting your feedback on it. David can drop that into the chat too when he gets there. But you can see number 1 in the middle, the big 6, workforce and training, right? It's a key component in your regional ecosystem of support for making smarter products that solve problems. A lot of good hard work, Carlene, going back to the IMCP days. You'll recognize those are kind of the key component parts of what national stakeholders, and the best evidence has really shown is needs to be operating sufficiently in your region for your particular manufacturing sector to thrive, your manufacturers to thrive. And so workforce, of course, is key. I want to focus before you keep that up there for a second, Dave, because it's a good segue. So on the left one, right, key industries, right? We got to make smarter products to solve problems. And we want to use new technologies and doing that. We're having this February 26th meeting, thanks to NAM's Todd Bappel and Carolyn Lee with Manufacturing Institute, and some of our usual suspects to include our Connecticut leaders, Paul Lavoie, Carmen Molina Rios, Alan Davis, and others. IEDC, Nathan Oley, who is at the Manufacturing Momentum Summit. We're we're going to be in DC talking about creating these kind of sub-industry verticals amongst state leaders where states have, a strong vested interest in a particular sub industry. So think of like shipbuilding, right? And we got to do way better in shipbuilding. Well, which states have a really, really strong interest in shipbuilding. So anyway, this is kind of an open meeting, with very interested in stakeholders and trying to operationalize this bigger concept, right? That around these key priority industries, how are we going to really strengthen the supply chains and innovation chains for the things that need to happen to accelerate the pace of our progress. You can make arguments where we are in our pace of progress, but I think there's a strong consensus that we got to accelerate it. Something we talked about at the Manufacturing Momentum Summit workshop that we had in December. If you want to track that, a lot of great content there. We have a web page. David could drop that in the chat. So I wanted to bring this at least this discussion on February 26th to everybody's attention, so that if your state or the state that you know about that really has a vested interest in, which you all do in some vertical, right? We're really kind of just discussing the concept and seeing if there's a pilot industry we could move out on to test it, right? You test the proposition. So that's exciting, and that's one thing that I wanted to raise and see if anybody had any questions about that or any input on that, and I could go on. Lots of good stuff there. So let me stop for a second, see if anybody wants to introduce or reintroduce themselves or comment on that activity, which I think is exciting, right? It's really a tactic to accelerate the pace of particular sub industries, because not every state, for example, state governments have an important role in the manufacturing ecosystem of support, just like national government does, right? So, how do we help more states take a more active role in strengthening important manufacturing ecosystems of support? Not every state is relevant to, say, for example, shipbuilding. Not every state is relevant for X industry or Y industry, right? But for the states that are, what is the mechanism for them to discuss smarter tools and tactics to apply to make not only their own state part of that vertical, its ecosystem stronger, but also the nation's key manufacturing industry. So yeah, let me stop there. Anybody? Mark Whitney in Virginia, Admiral Whitney there. I know you guys have a lot of shipbuilding. Does this make sense to you? And I know you're working with the state government in Virginia to try to get them to be more active. And I hope you're going to be there on the 26th, because that would be, I think, an important piece of that. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Appreciate that. Yeah, so I will. I'll do what I can to get up there. It's because I think it's critically important. I think it's a unique opportunity to help shape by maybe becoming focused in specific areas and using that, as you said, as a test case to see if there's some lessons learned, some things that we can focus on that shows what right looks like, how to garner some success, even if it's small wins, and then extrapolate that across the other ecosystems around the country. And oh, by the way, I mean, I've seen a couple of slides that show specifically for shipbuilding there are not but a handful of states that somewhere in the supply chain are not connected to shipbuilding across the entire country. And so even if you hear the word shipbuilding, I can almost guarantee you somewhere in your state there is a supplier that is providing something to shipbuilding. So just an interesting factoid. Thanks for asking. Appreciate it, Matt.
Yeah, no, thank you, Mark, and as always, thank you for additional insights as we go forward like that. Yeah, and it's a complex playing field. So yeah, right. Always working on that. So anyway, let David and I know if you're interested in going to that. I mean, I think there's a form to fill out or whatever, but we want to track, really who's going to be there, and it relates to the capacity that NAM has to host. Meredith O'Connell, welcome. Yeah.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So my name is Meredith O'Connell. I'm the Workforce Development Manager at the Center for Economic Growth. We're located in New York State's capital region, so the Albany area, and we are an MEP center in New York State. So I just want to share some really exciting news. Empire State Development put out a $200 million grant for manufacturing training centers across the state. And CEG was one of 3 recipients of the grant. So the primary role is to connect diverse and skilled New Yorkers with careers in dynamic and high growth advanced manufacturing industries. So as I said, we received a portion of the grant. Other locations are Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Utica, and then us in Albany. So I can send a link for more information, but very exciting for New York State. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I bet, Meredith. That sounds great. Now, was this where did the money come from originally?
So it is all state funds. Empire State Development kind of put it forth. All state, fortunately.
Hey,
We'll
that's
be okay.
awesome. Oh, no, but it's cool because it really connects to the discussion that we just had about this. How do we encourage more state governments, right, to be on offense on stimulating their manufacturing ecosystems within their states. So Meredith, delighted that you raised that. I'm looking forward to diving in. And, we've been talking about doing a roadshow visit in the state of New York. And so you can learn more about our AMCC roadshow, our road shows. They're really co-created things depending on stakeholders like you, helping us, kind of coattail on existing meetings, maybe create some more or whatever, depending on this, what you guys' needs are. So you can check out some of those, Meredith, and let us know if you'd be interested in having further discussions about that too.
Yeah,
that'd be
thank
cool.
you so much. Definitely.
Yeah, Larry, welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I'm Larry Rothman. I am chairman of an organization called Happy Helping Adults with Autism Perform and Excel. We're really about workforce development. And we have our value proposition to the manufacturing industry is that we can provide upskilled workers who are specifically rifle shot trained to what you need across the country. There are about 10 million autistic people who are looking for work. We're working on training programs, upskilling programs for AI in manufacturing, for cybersecurity, for AI in supply chain, and with David Van Sicklen and I are on a common board for the Uniquely Able project for CNC and robotics. So if you are interested in potentially working with us to develop workforce, we are open to it. My name is in the chat, or just send me a note, and we look forward to working together. And thank you very much.
Yeah, that's awesome, Larry. As always, right? We need to tap into all of our strengths in this country to include those in your stakeholder group, and it's an obvious need on workforce, and exciting to really bring those capabilities to bear. another thing I wanted to report, you guys, we talked about this manufacturing momentum summit. And so like what's going to happen from year to year, we're very grateful. And I see our friends at NIST and Robert Szanski, who's, I think his talk at the summit in DC in December is also captured on our manufacturing momentum summit website page. So you can check out Robert there. But, the talk during that summit was about, how do we keep this rolling from year to year, manufacturing, momentum summit, workshop, whatever you call it or whatever. And we want all, the stakeholders to really invest in this thing. So it was great to have NIST's support this last year. And the year before, DoD invested in this. So there's talk again, DoD may be doing that again this year. Our BFFs at CREC, Ken Poole et al. We're talking with them about how, if at all, that's gonna manifest itself. So I just promised I'd keep you all up to date on those conversations. Looks promising for at least some kind of convening. I'm not sure how broad it's going to be. Remember 2 years ago, if you were involved in the 2023 get together that DoD hosted, it had a workforce theme, which makes sense, of course, through our lens, as it relates to the rest of the ecosystem. So we'll see. Hopefully, it's broader and has the opportunity to have other stakeholders like NIST did last year to invest in it, because we have to also help our friends in siloed agencies and stakeholder groups work better together to really manifest the collective impact that we all know we need to do, but we're not doing it with the speed that, of course, collective resources and work together can enable. So I wanted to talk about that. I don't know, Robert, did you want to chime in? I see you're on the call. Did you want to chime in and talk about, how NIST saw supporting the Momentum Summit and that kind of trend line? Yeah.
I think you had me actually mistaken, Matt. I'm with
Oh, I'm sorry.
Manufacturing and Energy Supply Chains.
Oh, I botched it. Yeah.
No
Apologies. Yeah, apologies. Yeah. Well, welcome. Tell us about you, Robert. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm one of the deployment managers on the Advanced Energy Manufacturing and Recycling Grant Program within the Manufacturing Energy Supply Chains office at the Department of Energy. We have a portfolio of manufacturers that we're supporting across the country, most of whom are, scaling up existing operations, or they have a commercially ready product that they're scaling up manufacturing of. So, we are trying to keep things rolling. There's obviously a bit of a hiccup with some of the Bill and IRA funds, as I'm sure folks are aware. So we're just trying to keep pushing, keep things moving to help support our manufacturers in the domestic energy supply chain space.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that and appreciate you being on. And I'm sure it's tricky in terms of what you can communicate, because there's a lot of flux. But thanks in advance for keeping this group, posted on, what ramifications of the changes in the new administration and to elements that matter to this ecosystem. So thank you for that. I don't know if we have let's see, anybody else want to chime in on any topic? Anyone from NIST that was at the summit wants to answer my question that I inappropriately directed to Robert? Okay, all right. Let's see here. Other things that you guys are concerned about. We do One of the things, I should also said, in the AMCC update newsletter that goes out every week, right? That's something that you guys can add value to just with, some of your updates. In this last one, the AMCC is part of this Partners Council with New America and SME, and I just interviewed Shaylin Giotishi and Deb Bolzer from SME. And if you don't, if you're not familiar with those two organizations, I think it'd be smart to get familiar. So they're doing this, we're part of this Partners Council that they're doing this accelerator for community colleges in the innovation economy, working with community colleges. So I suspect almost everybody, we're back to workforce. But it's really also connected to innovation, right, and entrepreneurship. And so much can be generated out of our community colleges in terms of, both of those elements of the Big Six, if not more. So I interviewed them together on a podcast, so that'll be coming out soon. We do these podcasts, so if there's somebody you or somebody think it would be useful to get on the podcast, let us know. And they were both great interviewees. So that's I'm just giving you a heads up that we have Sanjeev Malhotra right now is the latest podcast that's up. He's a manufacturer in the battery supply chain, so that's a really useful one. But next up will probably be Shaylin and Deb talking about this accelerator. And so anyway, they both SME, if you don't know SME, fantastic organization, has been around 100 years, doing this kind of work. And so it's good to be aware of other parts of the ecosystem that are humming along. There might be opportunities there to create collective impact. Has anybody had an experience with one or other of those organizations that they'd like to, shout out?
Well, Matt, we have Tony Neary on the call today from SME.
Oh, awesome. Hey,
So
Tony.
yeah, a little bit of experience. I launched my career actually back at Tulane University way back when. And I think a lot of people lose sight of the fact that SME is really working on the K through grade pipeline. So I'm heavily focused right now on early talent pipeline. Our efforts for diversity, equity, inclusion, and access are not being derailed at all. So we are continuing to work to serve underserved populations. And we're looking at technician to PhD. But when we're talking about careers in manufacturing, we're also talking about marketing, finance, HR. So I just prepared a presentation for a couple of people on my team. We'll be in front of 1,200 high school students in Licking County, Ohio, coming up in March. And we're talking about personality aspects and the types of careers in STEM that could be intriguing for them to try and get students to really see oh, I'm empathetic and I'm really creative. I could look at careers in design, and these are the types of careers in manufacturing I could look at. So we're trying to change the conversation and really just invigorate and kind of shake up the pipeline because we need it here in the US. So.
Heck yeah, Tony. Hey, and so this is an opportunity, pick a Monday, come in, talk for 10 more minutes about, one of those examples that, other regions could go, hey, we could do something either with SME or like what you're doing,
Absolutely. Yeah. And
that would be great. Yeah.
I'm waiting now. If anybody doesn't know Drew Crow, Drew is a good friend of mine, and I've created a proof of concept app targeted at middle school students that really highlight what STEM looks like in manufacturing. So we have the proof of concept ready to go. Drew's going to take that out on the road and get eyes on it for me. And then once I have more feedback on that, I can share it back out. But the goal is let's go to where they are and start creating experiences where students realize STEM is not just curriculum, it's career pathways. And that's how we get to the kitchen table, as you like to say, Matt.
Yeah, no, that's great, Tony. Yeah, that's we're psyched. And this group too, consider this group a feedback loop, right? In some kind of, early version of that. That could be a shortcut if just putting it out there. Yeah. Great. All right. Well, we're at the top of the hour. Michelle, let me turn it back to you to close this out.
Yeah. Thanks so much, everyone, for the great discussion. As everyone knows, we will be out next Monday for President's Day. So we will reconvene on Monday, February 24th, and wishing everyone a wonderful and productive week. Take care.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.